Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Kevin Vogel. We're going to be starting the webinar in just 2 minutes. Wanted to give you a heads up. We're just waiting for everyone to get in. We'll be starting right at 2 o'clock. All right, thanks everyone for joining us today. Like I said, my name is Kevin Vogel. I'm the Vice President of Virtualization and Cloud Computing here at Champion Solutions Group. We're lucky enough to have Jeff Graves from Microsoft on with us today. Jeff, say hello.
Afternoon, everybody. This is Jeff Graves, Partner Technology Strategist from Microsoft.
Fantastic. Just I want to do a little house cleaning here before Jeff gets into all the information about the major license changes that Microsoft's going to be having over the next year and a half or so. But I do want to let you know that this is a very interactive webinar. We try to make them as interactive as possible. On your Go to My Webinar interface, there's a place where you can ask questions. I'll be monitoring the questions as Jeff does the presenting along the way. We'll try to answer them in a timely fashion as long as it doesn't slow down the flow of information. What we don't get to during the webinar, we'll answer at the end. And if there's any questions left, we'll get back to you individually on those questions. So with that, I'm going to kick this thing off and just walk through the agenda here. Jeff's going to be covering Microsoft's vision and strategy going forward, the changes in licensing for Windows 10 and Office 365 Pro Plus. You're going to see a lot of real great things that Microsoft's coming out with. What's happening in 2020? Like I told you, this is a year and a half journey that we're going to be taking here. And at the end of the timeline for the OSs and the Office applications, we'll try to give you some insight on when those things are going to be ending. How to stay current. That seems to be one of the big questions that we're getting from our customers. And then we're going to talk about the legacy analyzer that is available to you at the end of the webinar to make sure that your environment can handle all these new applications that's going to come along. We're going to ask you just 3 quick poll questions here, just so we can make sure that Jeff covers exactly what you guys want covered. So with that, I'm going to start the first one up here and find out, first of all, do you know what ProPlus is? And if you could just quickly answer yes, no, not sure, that would be great. Okay, so most people, over 50% of the people actually know what ProPlus is, so that's at least a good sign. Some people not sure and some people don't know, so that's good. We'll make sure that you understand what ProPlus is, what it means to you. How many of you have deployed ProPlus as part of your Office 365 environment? And we're getting a lot of quick answers here. This is great. Over 60% of you have voted already, and it almost looks like 50-50 here from the people that have deployed it to the people that haven't deployed it. With that, I'll close that one. And our last poll question, I told you these would be quick. Are you using a version of Office that's older than 2015? And I'll let you answer those questions. So I'm getting just quickly got quick 60% response on this. Again, it's about 50-50 of people that are using an older version of Office and someone that's using 2016 or newer. So with that, Jeff, that gives you at least an idea of what the audience is doing out there. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jeff.
Awesome. Well, appreciate it. Thanks, Kevin, and appreciate everyone joining us today. I wanted to just kind of start out talking a little bit about Microsoft's mission and our ambitions to set the stage in terms of where we're looking to take things. So Microsoft's mission statement and really the inspiration momentum for everything we do at Microsoft is centered around this mission, which is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And we do this through three kind of interconnected ambitions that focus deliberately on customer success. So the first is to create more personal computing. We also want to build the intelligent cloud platform. We're looking to reinvent productivity and business process. And these three interconnected ambitions really represent our opportunity for what we consider the digital transformation. So these ambitions really translate into important cloud capabilities. And we know that cloud's a generational shift in computing, and it represents these major changes for everybody, including Microsoft. So these cloud capabilities are really key for what drive our focus as an organization. So first, we want to adopt new cloud-based services that enable productivity. We're looking for new business app solutions that reinvent business processes. We're looking to build new applications that enable them to better engage with customers. We're looking to take advantage of new data intelligence and unlock insights that enable intelligent action from it. And then also ensure that all of these solutions are delivered in a secure way that can be managed holistically. And this is the combination of these scenarios are really what enables organizations to become agile. It helps them lower their costs and transform their business. And Microsoft's cloud is unique in delivering on all of these scenarios with a global, trusted, and hybrid promise that's really differentiated in the industry. So let's take a look at what this means from a cloud technology, right? So as part of our journey, Microsoft has really transformed from a product company into a platform company. And our platforms align to our ambitions, right? So the first is Microsoft 365. This is the platform that is focused on the user, which really enables more personal computing. Our second is Azure, which is our intelligent cloud platform that's focused on the application. And then our third is Dynamics 365, which is the platform that's focused on the business that allows companies to really reinvent their business processes. And these platforms are oriented around four key workload areas that center around everything that we do. So the first is modern workplace, apps and infrastructure, data and AI, and then business applications. So for Microsoft, the digital transformation is really building platforms for those four key workloads to drive four outcomes. So the first is about empowering employees with the tools that fuel collaboration and productivity while mitigating the risks that come with providing freedom to those employees. We also want to build better, stronger engagements by harnessing data that represents a complete view of that customer, and then drawing actionable intelligence and predictive insights that can really deliver personalization at scale. We need to optimize operations to reshape these customer relationships and service models by drawing on those insights through advanced analytics that we can use to then introduce improvements on a continuous and real-time basis. And then finally, we want to reinvent products and services and business models using digital content to capitalize on those emerging opportunities. And to us, connecting those four key workload areas to drive these four outcomes are what enables digital transformation. So let's take a look, an in-depth look at the Microsoft 365 platform, which is really what we're here to discuss today, right? So this platform is built with the user in mind, and it's designed to do 4 key things. One is unlock creativity. We're looking to enable teamwork. We want to make sure that it's integrated for simplicity, and that it includes intelligent security. And we enable this on the Microsoft 365 platform through Office 365, Windows 10, and Enterprise Mobility and Security. And these 3 components really make up that Microsoft 365 platform.
So that Microsoft 365, that's a new license, Jeff? They can buy this as basically a bundled package?
Yeah, I'd really encourage people to think about it more as a platform. While there is a SKU and a bundled license that exists today, it's really important to think about Microsoft 365 as the platform for user. The bundled licensing does include products from these 3 suites, but really our vision is about Microsoft 365 becoming the cloud platform for the user. So let's focus on Office 365 specifically, given that's where a number of changes are coming. So Office 365 ProPlus is the most secure suite of Office cloud productivity apps in the market. And it provides solutions for authoring. These are your traditional Office applications like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. There's mail and social engagement through Outlook. It provides cloud storage through OneDrive for Business. There's chat, meetings, and voice capabilities that are delivered through Skype for Business, and then advanced analytics capabilities that you get from Excel. And all of this is built on the platform that it ensures security and compliance, allows you to manage that at scale. It's extensible with third-party integration, and it's always up to date. So when most people hear Office, they think Office applications. And Office 365 Pro Plus is that and more. It includes always up-to-date web, mobile, and desktop versions of your favorite Office applications like Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, but it's really built with the user in mind, allowing installation across all the user's devices with cloud capabilities like online cloud storage through OneDrive for Business.
So this package down here, it says installed on 5 PCs. So that, just make sure I understand that too. So you can install, if you're part of the Pro Plus, you can install this if the same user is using the programs on 5 different devices, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So Office 365 is always licensed per user, and we recognize that a user may have multiple devices and multiple form factors. So we ensure that the license follows that user, allowing you to install the Office client applications on up to 5 PCs, as well as 5 tablets and phones.
And that could even be different operating systems. So they could be using, let's say, a Mac at home and a Windows PC at work, and they could still use the same 5 installs, correct?
Yes, so the 5 Windows-based installs are included as part of the Office 365 subscription.
Okie doke.
So, what is Office 365 Pro Plus if we compare that to Office Professional Plus, right? Your traditional full package product that you would buy from a retail provider. What are those main differences between the subscription-based solution and like a volume licensed or retail version? So first, both of them include the familiar desktop applications, but Office 365 also provides access to web and mobile versions. Office 365 is licensed per user, which allows you to install on up to 5 devices, but Office Professional Plus is licensed per device. Office 365 is a subscription-based service, meaning you pay monthly or yearly for the access to the software and services, whereas Office Professional Plus is a perpetual license. Office 365 is updated regularly, so you get new features that come automatically as part of that subscription, whereas new features on the Office Professional Plus side are only delivered as part of 3 to 4 year update cycles that relate to major releases. For example, the difference between Office 2016 and Office 2019 from a feature perspective. If we look at Office 365, it's always up to date. It delivers these updates using smaller semi-annual update packages whereas the Office Professional Plus requires these full upgrades in order to get these new features. Installing those updates on Office 365 happens without user interruption. So their updates are deployed in the background, where Office Professional Plus requires a full upgrade and patching process. Office 365 updates are streamed directly to each user's device, which ensures an optimal user experience. Office 365 also includes 1 terabyte of OneDrive for business cloud storage, and it also includes cloud-powered intelligent features baked into the Office applications that you're not going to get with Office Professional Plus. So you can see there's a lot of value that is derived from Office 365 Pro Plus beyond just the traditional Office client applications.
Well, I've got a couple questions that really fit in right here, Jeff. For instance, Mike is asking, is that 1 terabyte of cloud storage per user, or is it per company or organization?
That's a great question. So that is per user. You also have the ability to add additional storage per user as necessary.
All right. And then John is asking, I think we just said that the license is cross-platform, correct?
The Office 365 Pro Plus license supports PC installations as well as mobile, so that would include your Android and iOS operating systems.
Right. And then another Mike, and he must be an administrator out there, he's trying to find out if the installation integration with SCCM is on site, or does it have to be in the cloud, or does that really matter?
Yeah, it's a great question. You can deploy Office 365 using a configuration manager, but really the value is derived via integration from Intune. So while you can use your existing investments in configuration manager, really to light up all of the functionality from a management and deployment perspective, Intune is the recommended approach.
All right, and then one last question, and we'll go on to the next slide here, Jeff. As an administrator, and this is Sean asking the question, do I have centralized management of my users' OneDrive spaces?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as an Office 365 administrator, you do have access to the administration portal where you can push out policy across all users inside of that Azure Active Directory tenant, which then defines the Office 365 subscription. So there are a number of settings and features that you can manage as the Office 365 administrator.
Well, and I know you were talking about getting these small little updates, and anyone that's got Office 365 right now and using Pro Plus, I mean, I think you've seen that along the way. I know I have, for instance, in Outlook, they just added where you can actually talk your emails, where it's audible, that will read it to you. You can also speak and type your emails. That was just a new feature that just came out in the last update. So I know that they do all these little updates along the way. Are those same updates going to be coming on the web-based interface too, Jeff?
Yeah, it's a great question. So that is our North Star. So over time, you can expect to see 100% parity across our desktop, web, and mobile versions of the applications. The specifics as to when a specific solution or feature would come to each of those platforms really remains to be seen. But over time, yes, you should see parity across the deployed desktop application and the web version.
Okay, and then just so that there's another Mac question here, and just so you know, Office 365 is compatible with Safari as a browser if you want to use the applications on the web, and you can install Pro Plus on a Mac. So all those things are supported, just so you know. All right, we'll get on to the next slide here. So I know that we stuck this in here, Jeff. You didn't know we did this, but most people want to know what versions actually come with Pro Plus. So obviously you can get the Business Premium, you can get E3, E5, or you can buy Pro Plus as a standalone SKU. Also, obviously, with the Microsoft 365 that Jeff was talking about, the new platform that's coming out. I just wanted them to know which ones are included so they can, in case they have it.
So I wanted to touch on really the differences here. If we look forward to what's coming in Office 2019, how that compares to an Office 365 Pro Plus subscription. So there's a number of features that are in Office 365 Pro Plus or that will not be available in Office 2019. Some of these are tools that help unlock creativity, like Editor, which uses cloud intelligence to help proofread documents. There's Researcher, which enables you to quickly incorporate reliable sources for content in research papers in just a few steps. And then Insights in Excel, which really provides fast, automated, insightful analysis about your data with just a single click. Office 365 is really built for teamwork. It enables real-time co-authoring and collaboration using Office 365 groups across platforms. It's integrated for simplicity, enables shared computer activation, which ensures compatibility on workstations that are actually shared by multiple Office 365 users. There is built-in mobile device management capabilities for the Office 365 applications, and then that can also be extended for full integration and management with Intune. And then it brings intelligent security to the table through built-in advanced threat protection for Office 365 applications across any platform, web, mobile, and desktop. And then Office Enterprise Protection that assesses risky application usage and then makes recommendations to limit exposure to malware. So imagine scenarios where macros are analyzed in the cloud and then automatically disabled or enabled depending upon what that looks like and from the analysis in the cloud.
So Office 2019, when do you have an idea of when that's going to be available or when it will be, coming out?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we have not shared publicly a specific time frame other than later this calendar year.
All right, because believe it or not, that was my question, Jeff, not there. So I just didn't know. So I thought maybe I missed something.
No worries. So why is it important to stay current with Office 365 Pro Plus? So for one, security. Really, security and non-security changes are provided monthly with Office 365 Pro Plus, and these updates are cumulative, meaning that you don't need to install all of them. You simply need to install the latest to ensure that you're getting the most up-to-date version. Office 365 Pro Plus provides simplified management. You get these smaller, easier to manage updates instead of these monolithic upgrades. You have much smaller download sizes that are really optimized for these end user devices that allow you to stay up to date. And you get this access to new features with less impact to the user. On a productivity perspective, there's 120 new features that have been delivered to Office 365 Pro Plus since Office 2016 Professional was released. And then the existing features have become more enhanced and reliable. So if we look at how servicing works in Office 365 Pro Plus, we talked a little bit about how Office 365 delivers these cloud cadence updates. You don't have these upgrades, these massive upgrades anymore. These are now smaller and easier to manage. Those updates are delivered in the background and only downloads what's necessary. And then there's also built-in telemetry that helps navigate the landscape of deployments. And there's also several integration options to help IT maintain control as necessary. So why is having the latest version of the Office client so critical? Really two key reasons. One is that older software results in a poor end user experience. You end up with this reduced functionality, inconsistent experiences across the devices that you use. And newer software really helps reduce these legacy scenarios that have high costs associated with management. And then also security and reliability are crippled with older clients. You have slower response to modern threats. You can't take advantage of compliance and security enhancements that are inherent with cloud. IT shares a greater responsibility for managing these legacy deployments, and then outdated protocols are really not optimized for cloud services. So all of this leads to the changes that we have announced that are coming in 2020. So first, on October 13th, 2020, we've announced some changes for Office 365. Specifically, Exchange Online will require Office 365 or Office 2019 clients. Older clients will not be able to access email or calendar data. Also, older clients will no longer be able to access or collaborate on documents that are stored in OneDrive or on SharePoint. Office 365 subscription users or Office 2019 perpetual clients will not be impacted by this change. Users who have a previous version of these Office clients that are connecting to on-premise services like hosted Exchange will not experience any change. Mobile and web apps won't experience any change either. Those versions will automatically be updated to work with these cloud services. And this coincides with the end of mainstream support for Office 2016. So the key takeaway here is that in order to leverage the cloud services that are inherent with Office 365, you will need an Office 365 subscription or the latest Office 2019 client applications.
So even 2016, which is the current version today, by the October 13th date, you won't be able to use that to get, like you said, your mail or your calendaring information, correct?
That's correct. You won't be able to use Outlook client that's part of Office 2016 to connect to Office 365 cloud services that includes Exchange Online, OneDrive, and SharePoint Online.
Okay.
So there's another change coming with Windows 10, but before we talk about that, I really wanted to touch on the two servicing channels that exist in Windows 10. And speaking with Kevin, we thought that this would be a good opportunity to set the stage in terms of the two different versions of Windows 10 that exist. So the first one is really designed, and I think what the majority of folks are using, these are general purpose devices. These run what we call Windows semi-annual channel. This is where you'll hear Spring Update or Windows 1803, which is the latest version that was released. There exists another servicing branch of Windows 10 called the Long-Term Servicing Channel, LTSC. This is only available to volume licensed customers, and it's really designed for special purpose devices. So think scenarios where you have IoT devices or medical control devices where it's extremely important that the code base does not change. And the reason I mention this is that we're going to discuss some changes in terms of Office 365 and Windows 10 compatibility. And I want to make sure that we understand that there are two different servicing channels as it relates to the Windows client.
And just so you guys know, when we actually ran through this and practiced this, this came up, and I had never heard of the long-term servicing option that was available. And you'll see later on that why I wanted to make sure you guys understand that all of you, or 99% of you, are using the semi-annual channel, which makes a big difference in the next slide. So that's the reason I wanted Jeff to add this in here. So we'll go.
Yeah, so the key takeaway here is that effective on January 14th, 2020, in order to use Office 365 ProPlus, you will need to be running a Windows 10 semi-annual channel as your operating system. There will be no support for legacy Windows clients or Windows Server versions or the long-term servicing channel of Windows 10. This is going into effect on January 14th, 2020.
So this one's even closer than that October 13th that you were talking about. This is really one of the big first changes.
That's correct. We have about 18 months until this change takes effect.
Okay.
There's also some changes happening around Office 2019 volume licensing that you'll want to consider. So first, Office 2019 is only going to be provided using click-to-run technology. An MSI package will not be provided. You can still, deployment can still be integrated with System Center Configuration Manager. We have some documentation about how that works. What this means is that it's really the same effort to install the Office 2019 client as it is the Office 365 ProPlus applications. Office 2019 is going to have the same compatibility at launch as Office 365 ProPlus. And then just like Office 2016, Office 2019 will not receive any new features after its release. Office 2019 will only be supported on Windows 10, and it's going to have that same support life cycle of 5 years of mainstream support and then 2 years of extended support.
I got a great question that came in from Sean. So he wanted to know, is Windows Server 16 considered LTSB? And if so, does that mean that Office will no longer be able to be installed on Server 2016?
That's a great question. So just like the client version, there is a semi-annual version of Windows Server 2016 and a long-term servicing branch version of Windows Server 2016. The deployment that most people use on the Windows Server side is actually the long-term servicing branch. So that is correct that Office 365 Pro Plus will not be, and you cannot install that on a Windows Server operating system. The only supported operating system will be a Windows 10 semi-annual channel operating system. Now, we understand that there are scenarios where people look to deliver Office 365 as part of an RDS solution. And we have not finalized exactly what that is going to look like, but do stay tuned for our partner event Inspire, which is coming up in July, and then our larger technology event Ignite, which is coming up in October, for additional announcements around exactly what Office 365 running inside of an RDS session, what that story will be long term.
All right, because now, boy, I got a lot of people like Citrix environments, which obviously, run on top of terminal services or RDS now. But if you are running VDI, so if you're running Windows 10 as a virtual desktop, that's something that will still be supported as long as you're running the semi-annual updated version of that. So if you're running, for instance, Zen Desktop instead of Zen App, which is the two different delineations, you'll still be able to do it. But until we get a final word, because now two more questions came in, it's just to clarify, you're saying that the LTSC will no longer be available after January 2020. I don't think you said that. I think that you said that you won't be able to run Office Pro Plus on LTSC no matter what.
That's correct. So you will not be able to install Office 365 Pro Plus on anything other than the Windows 10 semi-annual channel version of Windows 10.
Right. So I hope that answers your question, Aaron. So we'll move on from there. Now, for those, and I stuck this in here again, Jeff, and just so you know, because one of the questions is, how am I supposed to upgrade and do this from an automated standpoint, like using SCCM? You talked about Operations Manager. There is also MSI Express Upgrader that's going to be available out there, which will give you a clean install. It's an approach that's 100% supported by Microsoft. It's integrated with a click and run deployment tools that are out there. You can remove additional applications like Project or Visio during the legacy Office uninstall, and remove Office applications that are not approved standard for each of your user groups. So there are some tools that are coming out for those of you that want to automate these things. I'm going to show you a couple more that are coming out that will help you automate and even run a group policy kind of install, where you can install certain applications and not install other ones. And that's part of this Office customization tool that's going to be available. And this is basically setting up a group policy for installing Pro Plus, whether you want a 32 or 64-bit version, what applications you want to install, what languages you want to install. And this is all part of that platform of Microsoft 365 that Jeff was talking about. And Jeff, have you seen this tool actually run? Because I haven't yet.
Yeah, there have been some. It's still currently in preview, but there absolutely has been used by both some customers and partners.
Okay, so and then the last tool is this analyzer, and I actually ran it here at Champion. I can show this to you. And what it's going to do, it helps enterprises using legacy versions of Office, anything 2007, 2010, and so on down the line. There's a lot of people stick in add-ins and different things into the applications. And some of them won't be able to transfer over. So with this tool, you can basically run it against your environment, or we can actually run it against your environment for you. And it will show you, and here, let me just go to, I actually have it, the output right here. It will actually show you what you're running in there, the documents, what the plugins are. Right now, 97% are adopted or supported. There's 38 that aren't. You can actually go in here and look at details. It will give you a complete report that actually has some macros that can run. So for instance, if you're not running 64-bit, if you're running 32-bit, it will actually change the output. If, for instance, you don't want to look at like publisher or project, you can actually get rid of applications and find out where your problem spots might be. You can actually get rid of all the add-ons if you want, and it will change. So it's really a nice tool. It's really easy to run, and we'll be more than happy to help you to do that. But it really works very, very well. Sorry, I got to get back to our presentation here, and I know it's around here somewhere. Oops, well, I'll just go here. There we go. But it's a great way for you to figure out which ones of your plugins are acceptable, which ones aren't. And these are all, tools that are absolutely complementary. And that's, one of the nice things about Microsoft and working with Microsoft and Champion. We try to give you as much value as we can going forward. So just wanted to show you some of the tools that are out there. I know we're getting, where can I get it? Mike, I promise we're going to be getting all that to you in just a minute. In fact, here's what I'm going to do. I got my last poll question for you here. And if you would like to take advantage of the complimentary tool that we just talked about, just click yes or click no, and we'll be more than happy to contact you after the webinar and help you get this rolled out, and at least let you know where you stand from your current environment going forward. So I got about 50% of the people talked here. So let's just go on to the next slide while we're doing this. Oh, one of the things that we wanted to mention is one of the great ways to get Office 365 is through the CSP program, where obviously Champion and MessageOps is a CSP partner. We give you a lot of great benefits, everything from level 1 and level 2 support all the way through a lot of extra value-added tools, everything from a quarterly security assessment, a network assessment, adoption platform, a lot of great add-on tools, 7x24 US-based technical support, which a lot of people love. And right now, through January 3rd, through the holiday, anyone that signs up as a CSP, and by the way, same price that you're paying right now, no matter where you are, you'll get a Yeti cooler for free, just sent out as part of our thank you for, number one, watching the webinar and being part of the Champion family. So with that, I just wanted to throw this last chart in here, Jeff, so that you can show people those timelines that you were talking about, when support ends, when they have to do different things. I thought this is a great way to end it before we start asking or answering some questions. You still there, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like the poll is still up on my side.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's because you know why? I didn't close it. So my fault. There we go. Technical error. Now you should have it back, right?
Awesome. So this is where I want to just cover some of the timelines that are coming up. So first, again, we haven't announced specifically when, but expect an announcement coming later this year as to when Office 2019 will be released. Then the next important date is going to be January 14th, 2020. This is when the new system requirements for Office 365 ProPlus are enforced. And then the final date is October 13th, 2020. This is when the new Office 365 requirements for the Office clients becomes enforced, right? So that's where you need to either have Office 365 ProPlus or Office 2019 in order to use the Office 365 cloud services.
Right, and just so everyone knows, we are recording this, and we will be sending out a link to this recording along with all the slides that you saw here today, which will include the links that are built into the deck here. And with that, I just wanted to leave this slide up here. We'll start answering some questions. So the first one here is, I have a quick question regarding Office 365 Pro Plus upgrade. In our org, many users are still using Office 2010 32-bit. So how to upgrade to the latest version 64-bit remotely by using MDT or SSCM? Did you understand that question, Jeff?
Yep. So in fact, I believe you had a slide up a little bit earlier about helping remove the older versions of the Office client and then installing the latest version. Yep, that's this solution here that can help uninstall the legacy versions of the MSI deployments of Office, and then use the click-to-run technology, either deploying that via ODT or deploying that using SCCM or Intune down to the actual end users. That would be the recommended approach. I'd recommend reaching out to Champion Solutions Group for help planning that upgrade.
All right, so let's see, what's the next one here? Oh, I gotta scroll up here a little bit. Does Microsoft 365 SKU fit into the CSP program? And does that mean Champion will provide Windows 10 support since that is covered under the SKU? And the answer, Brian, is yes. We already do. So, because believe it or not, if you're part of the CSP program, which it sounds like Brian is, we use a product called CSP Boss, which automates the deployment of your licenses. Microsoft 365 is an available license for you to actually acquire through CSP Boss, and that will give you Windows 10 support level 1 and level 2. And then we also have the enhanced Microsoft support, where we can get directly into level 3 and level 4 to help answer your questions really quickly. That's one of the real big benefits of the CSP program. Jeff, you want to add anything to that, or?
Yeah, I would just say that the Microsoft 365 SKU, Microsoft 365 is a platform, as we mentioned, but that Microsoft 365 SKU that you can license includes Office 365, Windows 10, and then EMS as a bundle. It's available in 3 different SKUs today. You have Microsoft 365 Business, which includes Office 365 Business Plan, Windows 10 Pro, as well as some enhancements around EMS. And then you have Microsoft 365 Enterprise, both in E3 and E5. And those include the E3 and E5, Office 365, Windows 10, and EMS SKUs.
Okay. So Trevor says, it seems crazy that they're giving us 18 months notice Windows 7 users to get upgraded, or they won't be able to use Office 365. I think that they've told you about the end of support for Windows 7 for quite a while, though. Aren't I right, Jeff?
Yeah, and in fact, it does actually coincide with the end of Windows 7 support. So as Windows 7 support, or as Windows 7 becomes obsolete, and you'll need to update to the latest version of the Windows client, that coincides with the timing of when we are going to make these changes to Office 365.
Okay, and I have one from whoever DM is. I don't know who DM is. Regarding Office 365 Pro Plus, will it need to be utilized with only Windows 10 semi-annual? What if it's used for mobile devices like Android or iOS? And I believe that's a wholly different install. Am I right?
Yeah, it is. So to be very clear, the changes for Office 365 Pro Plus from a client applications perspective apply only for the desktop, the PC desktop applications that you're installing on a Windows platform. You will still be able to install the Office 365 Pro Plus mobile versions on Android and iOS platforms.
Okay. Mark asked a really good question, because this is something that you and I discussed. I have purchased a volume license MLK for Windows 10 Pro. How is this different from a semi-annual channel?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the answer is it's likely no different. You are likely deploying Windows 10 Pro semi-annual channel. To be clear, the Windows 10 long-term servicing channel, it is very specific and unique use cases where folks need a stability on the Windows client desktop. So understand that as a deployment mechanism, not necessarily a licensing mechanism. In the majority of cases, you are using the semi-annual channel version of Windows 10. And it's actually very easy to check. If you go and look at the version of Windows 10, you're likely running the latest version that was released in March. It should be 1803. And if you check your Windows version and you're running 1803 or any of the previous versions that were announced like 1709 or 1607, then you are running the semi-annual channel.
I know that, in fact, that it's the way that I checked mine, just so you know, Mark, because I wasn't sure how we were doing it either. And that was a great way to check. I know that mine's semi-annual. I found that out from Jeff. Bonnie asked a question here. Is Office 2019 cloud-based? And I believe you'll have the same that you have right now, both a cloud-based version and an installable version, correct?
Yeah, so what you will have is Office 365 Pro Plus, which will include the Office client applications that you can install on your desktop. The Office 2019 SKU that is a perpetual license that you would buy. Those are only the locally installed client applications. So Office 2019 as a SKU itself will not include any cloud-based services, will not include any of the cloud enhancements that Office 365 Pro Plus provide. Now, I understand this could be slightly confusing as I have Word, right? How do I tell if I have Office 2016 or if I have Office 365 Pro Plus? Really, the difference is in those cloud connected features. So at release, you will see a parity between the Office 365 Pro Plus and Office 2019 client applications. And then over time, you will see new features and any cloud only features delivered only to the Office 365 Pro Plus client applications.
Now, I know, Jeff, you mentioned to me that, the goal for Microsoft is really to make everything look as close to the same, no matter if it's web-based or an installable client. You called it a certain project that you guys are doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So over time, you expect to see consistency across all of the platforms, regardless of the device that you use or the operating system that powers it, or in the manner in which you consume it. So across our desktop, our mobile and web versions, we should see parity. That is the kind of North Star that we're driving towards, is parity across all of those client applications.
Okay. Carla asked a question. This is a good one too, because I know a lot of people run applications outside of the standard Office, like Visio and Project, but they actually run InfoPath 2013 along with their side by side with their current version of Office. Will this new upgrade affect those type of applications?
Yeah, it's a great question. Unfortunately, we haven't released any information to date about what that will mean for products like InfoPath. Stay tuned. We should have additional information released prior to the Office 2019 release.
All right, I'm just checking that down, see if there's any new ones down here. Okay, here's a new one just came in. If you have customers with thin clients using RDS, I think we covered this, with email hosted with Office 365, what version of RDS will need to be installed on the server in 2020? Trevor, we don't have an answer for that yet. Is that a correct answer, Jeff? Because you said they might be making announcements in the conferences that are coming up.
Yeah, so we have not announced specifically what that looks like. I would say stay tuned and pay attention to those conferences. We expect that there will be some additional announcements sometime around those conferences.
All right, well, Jeff, I think I got all the questions. Any closing remarks? Anything any words of wisdom to the audience?
Really just appreciate everyone's time. As we kind of transform We're really moving more towards that cloud platform business, and we're looking to deliver that value to our customers through cloud-enabled technologies. I highly recommend that you connect with a managed service provider, capable managed service provider like Champion Solutions Group, as there's a lot of complexity, both from a licensing perspective, but also from a deployment and operations perspective. We work very closely with Champion Solutions Group to make sure that they have the latest and greatest information to be able to help our customers. So really appreciate the partnership and appreciate everyone's time.
And Jeff, thanks a lot for taking the time and effort to help us here. And for whatever questions we haven't gotten to, I promise we will call you one-on-one to follow up and try to give you the answers that we can. Obviously, there are some things still in flux, but we thought it was a pertinent time to give you this information that's available right now, so that, like Trevor said, they're only giving us 1.5 years to get off Windows 7, and we wanted to give you as much, as much time and that you can do the planning that you need to do it correctly, which is really the most important thing. And anything we can do to help you, that's why we're here at Champion. Please feel free to reach out to us at any time. We want to thank you again. Have a great day.